history on my life. So, let's see. There's just a lot of things that happen in my life that a lot of kids shouldn't go through. And I think a lot of them don't understand, like, you know, a lot of them are going through a lot of bad stuff. Like, for example, let's say their parents drink and they're alone and they feel very sad and like they have nobody to talk to or anything. Let's tell you that you're not alone. Of course, there are a lot of kids out there who feel the same way, and you just need to know, you know, you're going to make it through, because honestly, I have. And it's been really hard. You know, my mom and dad were together on and off through my life, leaving me and my younger sisters alone. And like, not having them there just gave me this overwhelming protection feeling over my younger siblings, you know? So like, now I worry about my siblings, like, no matter where they are, I worry about them, like, is anyone hurting them, or, you know, what's going on, like, what can I do to help them? And I just thought the other day, like, oh my gosh, like, there's a lot of kids out there who go through this stuff, the same stuff you do, but there are also a lot of kids who have it worse than you. Remember that. When you feel like, oh, my life sucks, like, this stuff, why is this happening? It's not just you, okay? There are a lot of kids out there who are going through worse things. Like, I had to do this for my senior project. I had to do this, or senior essay. I had to do this topic, and it was a really hard one for me to do because, I don't know, I've seen a lot of movies on human trafficking and all that. Anyway, I read this story on this girl, and she was born and sold into a brothel. And when she was 9 years old, she contracted an STD, HIV, you know, and she didn't live very long. But someone interviewed her, and she said, no kid should have to go through this, and I would not wish this upon my worst enemy. And that just made me cry, because like, it's like, who could do that to their kid, you know? Who would sell their kids to these kind of people? Like, it's just messed up. Like, I don't get it. This world is a fucked up place, and I think, like, I just wish everything could be cool and there could be peace, you know, everything's gonna be fine, but it's not. And on my reservation, there's this pipeline that's going through, and a lot of Native Americans don't like it. Like, okay, so when I was young, a lot of kids were racist. In my little, like, in Mobridge and stuff, I was called names like, oh, look at her, she's dirty, or like, oh my god, you're just ugly, and like, you know, racist, get away from them, they caught something, like, you know, those kind of jokes. And it's like, it always hurt me, because it's like, God, you guys, we're in like a new age, why be racist, you know? And being Native Americans, you know, it's really hard for us, because don't get mad at me, and if you get mad, just understand what I'm trying to say, because this is true. This was our land before Columbus came and took it over. Like, you know, America was just full of Native Americans, tribes in different kind of areas. Like, you know, we weren't just one people on one reservation. We all had our own tribes. And sometimes I think if Columbus never came over, we would still be okay. Like, America would be fine. Like, nobody knew America. Nobody knew what was on that. It was discovered. You know, like, yeah, some cultures had their own ways. Yeah, we killed people and stuff, but over territory or horses and stuff like that. That's our culture. But not only, we didn't have stores or cars or anything, and I can guarantee you, sometimes I think, like, if Columbus and the settlers never came over, we would still be living off of the land, you know. We'd hunt for our food, we'd do stuff for ourselves, we made our own clothes, we stuck to our culture. And nowadays it's hard to do that, because a lot of kids are growing up not knowing, you know, their culture. They don't know about sun dances, they don't know about sweats or anything like that. They know about powwows and everything else, but like, I just think it just pisses me off, because Native Americans have been pushed aside for so long. Like, People, it's like people don't even care about us anymore. Like, no one really cared about us ever. And, you know, I am half white, like, I'm French and Irish, but still, like, it pisses me off because I'm more Native American than I am anything else. And, you know, it's just really sad, and, like, it makes me hurt because on reservations, it's like, that's the worst place alcohol and all that is sold, you know. And in Pine Ridge, South Dakota has the highest ranking of suicides. I think in 1 month they had over 32 suicides, which is really sad because their parents drink, you know. Pine Ridge is a really bad place for alcoholism and drugs and everything. Like, it just, oh my gosh, I just cannot explain to you how messed up this stuff is. Like, no, we shouldn't be going through this. And I honestly feel like if the settlers in Columbus never found America, there would be no alcohol. And people wouldn't be, like, killing each other or doing any of that stuff. Or another thing is, I'm sorry, but, like, our world is, like, messed up. Like, America can do all this stuff. They should be trying to make peace and treaties with all the other countries. But yet, every time I look on the news or something, I see we're going to get nuked, or, like, they want to invade America or something like that. You know, something's always going on, and I just think the government or the president should do something about it. Like, you know, not drastic, like not crazy, but try to calm the situation down, because it's just not right. Like, the world shouldn't be going through this. The world should be peace, and like everything should be fine between them. But no, they're not. Everything's pretty much fucked up. Now, in Eagle Butte, South Dakota, I think 2 or 3 years ago, a boy named Eastley, I went to school with him, and he was always the kind of, like, you know, him and all the people that I looked up to, they were all the good kids. You know, they were basketball stars and everything. They knew how to play ball. They were really good at the stuff they did. They were good kids. And then I leave to Utah to try to better my education, and that's where my life got messed up. I feel like if I stayed in Eagle Butte, I would have done all that stuff. Like, my life would have been on track. I could have been to school for basketball and everything, because in the cities, it's harder. You have to try out for everything. And when I came back, I find out that all these kids, all the girls and the guys that I looked up to, that I wanted to be like, you know, they were all on drugs, or they were partying hardcore and stuff, and one day he got shot because of drugs. And it's really sad, because, like, that shouldn't happen to people, especially on reservations. Like, we're people, we're Native Americans, we're one tribe. We should stick together, not be trying to kill each other. And I'm sorry, it makes me sad for my people, because, like, this should never have happened. It was really freaking hard for a lot of them, and especially for kids. Like, people were scared to go out. People were, like, scared of drugs. Like, you know, this person, what's gonna happen and everything. Like, I'm scared for my siblings, like, and I was on drugs before. And my sister was on drugs before. Like, I was always worried for her, and I just pray for the families and the kids who, like, are being hurt and everything. It makes me so sad, because nobody should go through the stuff that most kids go through. And, like, a month ago, maybe at the beginning of this month, a kid got shot in Rapid City for defending this woman. And a lot of people said it was for drugs. You know, I do not know. Personally, I'm just going off of what I hear, but, like, you see, that stuff shouldn't happen. Like, why do people have guns? Like, it's stupid. Like, oh my gosh, it just makes me so mad and sad, because a lot of people don't understand that none of this stuff should happen. And they just don't want to act on it. Like, you know, oh, let's try to stop it, let's try to do this. Like, stop doing drugs and better yourself. Like, I stopped drugs. I was on meth. 50 facts about me. I was bullied growing up because I didn't have nice clothes. My hair was always messy. I lived in a bad place where our trailer was, we had two trailers, but they weren't like together. They were just put side to side, so that way when you walk, I remember there used to be a line in between it. And we grew up poor. I used to get made fun of because of being poor. Every time we went, like everywhere we went, when I went to school in Wellbridge, I got called names. Nobody wanted to be my friend. Nobody wanted to be near me because of the dirty clothes I wore, the clothes I wore over and over. Like, we didn't have money to do laundry. We didn't even have washing machines or any of that. We made do with what we had. And it's hard. Like, nobody wanted to do that. Everyone called us names. I was bullied. I was pushed around a lot by a lot of older kids. I went to Sisseton with my dad, and there I finally had a chance to have some friends, you know, and as soon as their parents found out my last name and who my dad was, they forbade their kids to hang out with me ever again. My dad was like, and then I asked him, like, what did my dad do? And I find out my dad was this bad person. Like, he did all this messed up shit to a lot of people, and that's why a lot of kids' parents don't let them hang out with me. And you know, that's messed up because it's not my fault. You know, I'm not like him. And they just think like, oh, she's a bad influence and everything like that. Like, no, it's not like that. And I used to get beat by my dad. From my memories, I remember this one time my mom was gone and my dad asked me to get my sister ready because we were going someplace, and I couldn't find her shoe, and he like picks me up and throws me against the wall, and bear in mind I'm like maybe 3 years old, 4. Yeah, like no kid, what the heck, you know? Like, I used to get hit. I remember being so young that to where this one time my grandma and grandpa raised me and my sister basically, and I remember this one time one morning we were playing, and I'm like 4 or 5 years old, and I stopped playing and I look at my grandma and she's sitting there watching us smiling, and then I walk over to her and I lay my head on her lap and I start to cry, and she's like, what's wrong, my girl? And I told her I miss my dad and my mom, and like I just could never understand why those two always took off. Like, you know, if they wanted their freedom and everything, then why'd they have kids? Why didn't they use like take steps to prevent from having us? And growing up, it just made me hate them so much. Like, I couldn't even stand to talk to my dad for the longest time. Like, every time he called, my sister would talk to him, and then he'd want to talk to me, but I couldn't because of how things happened. I was molested growing up, and it like, I don't know, it did something to me to where I have this like deep inside depression, and I realize now that it's never going to go away unless you work at it. So for those who's been through stuff like that, get some help and counseling and everything. Do not be ashamed, because worse things have happened to worse people. And I'm working through my problems. You know, I go to counseling and everything, and so far I'm feeling a lot better. And my dad and mom always split up, and when they did, they always had the stupidest question. They asked me and my sister, like, who do you want to go with, me or your mom? And I always chose my mom because I knew that no matter how rough the situation was, she would take care of me. She wouldn't like just drop us off with somebody, and that's something my dad always did. And every time I chose my mom, he would push me away, like, you're not my daughter, you know, I disown you and stuff like that. He wouldn't let me be near my sister, and that hurt. And, you know, a lot of that stuff just grew up and kind of messed me up inside. And like, I went to Gregory with my mom one time when they finally split up, and everything was cool, you know. And then being alone, like, I think we're like 5 miles, 6 miles out of town or something like that, I don't really remember, but There's only 2 houses, and I was the only kid there by myself. There was a girl there once, but she left when her mom got out of jail, and then I was there by myself. And you know, I didn't know what to do. Yeah, my cousins came to hang out with me, but it wasn't soon after that they all disowned me. Like, they all just pushed me aside. Like, nobody wanted to be around me. And for the longest time, I didn't understand why. Like, I was just trying to fit in and have some friends and stuff. Like, I was just trying to not be alone for once. And my mom, like, that's when I realized she wasn't a good mom, because, like, from the minute we got there, she started doing drugs. And she started doing, like, bad stuff, some bad stuff, to where she got herself thrown in jail for a month and left me alone with an auntie who never did anything for me. Like, I barely ate that whole month. I think I remember the food I ate was the food that was given to me, and it wasn't that much. And my mom's boyfriend sent her money, and when she was in jail, and I took that money, I was holding on to it, you know. I was going to use a little bit for the fair and get myself something to eat. But as soon as my auntie finds out, she's not even my auntie, I'm not even going to call her that. As soon as she finds out that I have that money, she takes it from me and she goes and spends it on her kids. Like, can you believe that? I have nothing. I don't have clothes. I don't have anything. I don't have food, nothing for myself. This little girl who has nothing, who has to fend for herself, the only money she gets is taken away from her and spent on this woman's kids. Like, she goes and her kids ride all the rides. I didn't even get to ride one. I didn't get nothing. I finally meet up with them and they got cotton candy, popcorn, and all this, and it just sucks. And a lot of people should never have to go through that. When my mom did get out, you know, I told her what happened, and right away after she gets out, she started drinking and partying and stuff, and I was this little girl who would protect my mom. Like, for a whole week, I didn't know where my mom was. And when I finally asked my aunties, you know, where's my mom, they said she's up here. So I walked up there. I didn't even know where I was going, but I found her. And when I get there, she's passed out on the couch. These guys are trying to touch her and shit. And I'm like 6, 7. And what do? I sit on her. Like, I just sit on her, and I'm making sure that no one can touch my mom. No one can get to my mom. Every time someone came over, I tell them to leave. You know, leave my mom alone. I shouldn't be the one to do that. She should be the one to do that. She should be protecting me, not me protecting her. On the 4th of July, when she got out, I told my mom what my auntie did with the money and everything, and how I was going to save it so we can get home to Sioux Falls. And she was talking to my auntie, and then I hear, Leona, get your fucking ass out here. So I go outside, and my auntie's in my face, and she's like, why do you tell your mom this bullshit? And I'm like, you did do that. And my mom didn't even do anything. She just took her side over mine. Anyway, that night, everybody's passed out, and me and my mom we had this, like, little tiny bed that we shared, and I swear to God, I stayed up that whole night to make sure that she was okay. I stayed up. Every time she, like, was gonna fall off, you know, I jump over on that side and make sure she stayed on the bed. And she's a big girl and I'm a little girl, but I'm pushing my mom so she can stay on the bed, and, like, I'm standing there watching her and myself to make sure no one touches us, because I've been in that kind of situation and I never wanted to be in that situation anymore. So, just imagine a little girl who should be protected, but she's protecting her parents instead. I'm sorry for crying, it's just, a lot of this stuff still gets to me, and it just hurts to realize, you know, I've gone through this, and I really shouldn't have. I had $5, and this was like, on that day, me and my cousins went swimming, and some people come over, and from day one, since I got there, this one bitch did not like me. I do not know what I did or why she didn't like me. She just didn't like me. We're swimming, and I'm like trying to, they're like switching pools, because there's like 2 separate pools, one deep one, one small one, and they're jumping in each one. And I think it's a game, so I'm jumping in the same one, and then when I get out, I hear them saying like, oh fuck, she's coming, like she should just leave. So what did I do? I left. And I just sat in that park crying. Like, I just felt so lonely. I had $5 and I didn't know what to do with it. I thought of getting myself some food, but I wasn't really that hungry, so I was gonna get a haircut. And I went to get the haircut, and they said I couldn't have the haircut because I had enough for the haircut. I couldn't have it because, I don't know, something was wrong with me. I didn't have a parent or something like that. They just turned me down. So I went back to the park, and I stayed there that whole day. And I had to find my own way back to where we were staying. And I was just honestly thinking about just walking out there, you know. I didn't care anymore. But my mom comes, she drives up, and then I find out we're going back to Sioux Falls. So we just left and went back to Sioux Falls. And when we got there, you know, my grandma Leona was there. I'm the namesake of 2 Leonas, my dad's mom and my mom's mom. I have both their middle names, so my name's Leona Margaret Marie Ducheneau. And my mom, like, being there, everything just happened all over again, you know. My family was always gone. Things happened to me that shouldn't have. I started smoking weed with my cousin and uncle. You know, just imagine a girl smoking weed. And everyone was always drunk, or they were always gone. I was stuck there with kids, and I was with my other cousins. Anyway, one day, my mom goes to bingo, and my dad shows up out of nowhere, and I find out he's been looking for me for a while. And I didn't want to go with him because I know what he was going to do. You know, he's going to take me to a family member and just leave me. And I didn't want to be with the family member. I wanted to be with them. And he comes in, and my cousin's like, Leona, run outside. Just keep running and, like, just run. I'm like, no, I can't. He's going to catch me. And he just comes in, grabs my arm, and starts taking me outside. And I'm like, Dad, I gotta get my stuff. And he's like, I have it all. And I get free of him, and my grandma's sitting there crying, like, don't take her, just let her stay with us, please. And I hugged her. Like, I ran up to her, and I hugged her, and I gave her the biggest hug and kiss. And I said, Grandma, I love you so much. Tell my mom I love her. And he, like, pulls me away, and he takes me to his girlfriend's house. And he's like, we're gonna take you back to Eagle View. So I said, okay. I thought he was gonna come with us. And instead, he chooses to stay with his girlfriend. That's the thing about my dad, is he always chose a woman over us. And I asked him, are you not coming back with us? And he's like, no, I'm gonna stay here with her. And that was the last time I seen my grandma. Like, years went by, and then I find out she passed away. And I couldn't even go to the funeral. And it just broke my heart completely. When I got back to South Dakota, my Uncle Joe, he was a hard drinker, you know, he doesn't drink not much anymore, but I got put in social services. I guess my mom had this, I remember missing persons alert, you know, kidnapping the thing going on, and then when they found me, I was like not even close to home. Like my uncle passed out somewhere on the side of the road, and when my dad took me, I was just doing the stuff I wore when he took me, which was shorts and a tank top. And mind you, it was freaking, the sun wasn't even up yet. And I'm in social service custody, and I tell them, like, you know, this is going on. And for the first time in my life, me and my sister were in a good place. And from then on, we were with my auntie, and she took really good care of us. Like, I used to hate her for doing things, like, correcting us and stuff, but now that I'm older, I realized that she was just doing that stuff to make sure we would better ourselves, so we wouldn't be screw-ups. And no matter how hard she tried, I still screwed up. I went to Utah. I did a bunch of bad stuff. I got pregnant, ran away. Lost my baby, started doing drugs. I was homeless 5 times. And each place I found, you know, I could only stay there for a while, and then they would get tired of me. So I got tired of this stuff, and I decided to get a job and work, save up my money so I can get home. And I did. I worked for 2 whole weeks straight. And then I had over $500, enough to get me a train ticket, a bus ticket. And I decided to save that because my friend's birthday is that next day. Someone stole my money, dude. At that party, someone just stole it. So I didn't have any. So I went back to work and I saved up my money, and then I did have enough to come back. And when I get here, I'm with my family, you know. I'm older and I've been through all this stuff. So I know. But when I get here, I decide to do the same stuff over. Like, I have nothing going on in my life. I'm back on drugs. I don't even know what was going on in my head at this time. Like, all I know is that's my story. Not all of it, but the main parts that people should know. And, you know, growing up, if I can make it through that, then you can too. Everything's going to be just fine. So don't think you're alone in this world, because no matter what, I'm someone you could talk to. And if you want to know more, or want to hear something else about me, or if you want to share your tale or your story with me, you know, comment below and we'll talk about it. And if you have any subjects that you want to hear me talk about on my opinions, then comment below and I will let you know. If you want to see anything, then comment below. Comment anything below and I will try it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and yes, just thank you so much for listening. Bye.